Okay. I can't see the. Okay. Zoom said recording is in progress. Okay, Zoom.
So what was the thing that you wanted to talk about? Like the other day when you messaged me on Instagram, there were a lot of things, I think.
Yeah, there were a lot of things. First, you said the topic of perspectivism should have been included if I had foretold you about the play I was participating in.
Yeah. Like give the quick overview of the play for the people who are going to be listening to this podcast.
Okay, so the play basically consists of a room setting in which a family of three, mother, father, and daughter, are
Hmm.
sitting and they are watching a TV on
Hmm.
one fine evening, and
Yeah.
there is some news going on about a company firing five of its employees
Okay.
because they were transgenders and they demanded for separate toilet facilities.
Okay.
And then the war of perspectivism going uh, starts, and the father is basically like the media is bad, the people are bad, those who raise the voices are bad because they don't show the whole picture, and basically all the stuff. Like he was logical from his point at
Yeah.
one place, but
Hmm.
in the beginning the daughter was like, we should talk about these things and all. uh, Basically the point came where the conflict began from this point. Okay, so the conflict was, uh, father was speaking of these things from the perspective of reality, what
Yeah.
he has seen over the years, and what he knows can happen and cannot happen.
All right.
And the daughter was young and she wasn't enthusiastic, she was idealistic, she was
Yeah.
not that practical. So she was putting forward her points. Now, um, clearly, when uh, you will see that there had been some tension between the father and the daughter regarding this thing,
Yeah.
and the father is already very like fed up of these discussions and debates which were happening in his house with him,
Hmm.
and with that he was not a very vivid supporter of mental health
Yeah.
because he didn't know.
Like much of the people,
So
like most of the people
yeah,
in the upper generation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens is, after a while, uh, he gets offended on some things, and the daughter too gets offended on some things, and father becomes dismissive, then the daughter becomes dismissive, and they start like just shouting at each other.
All right.
And at last, the mother intervenes, and she's really, really fed up more than
More
the
than these
both
two
of them
people.
combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sick of all
she
the fighting
just,
and all the debates going on.
yeah. So, and she just interrupts and says that you both are just shouting out your own perspectives, not giving a damn about the others.
Yeah.
And the such type of discussion only brings loud noises, not solutions with it. That was the message of the play.
Okay.
That if you really want a solution, start listening to. Speaking is necessary, it's definitely necessary, but
Start
start
listening as
listening
well.
to.
Yeah. Start listening the
Yeah,
other perspectives, ideas, and um,
yeah,
yeah,
and
include all those things into your perspectives as well to take out the best of all those things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like people need to realize that whatever they think they know or they have, it's not ultimate.
Yeah.
In fact, these days, people like, I see it as an insecurity, the desperation to be ultimate. It's a very huge insecurity. Governments around the world, they are suppressing dissent. They are using democratic procedures to bring out such draconian laws. Not only in
Hmm.
India or China, but all over the world, this is happening.
Yeah, man. It happened in
And
America. It happened in America once, like not just once. Maybe it would have happened more times than we know. But have you seen the movie The Trial of the Chicago Seven?
No.
No, there's a movie I recommend you to watch it on Netflix. It is there on Netflix, and
Mhm.
it's an amazing movie. I was watching it a month ago, and there was a case. There was a real case when the Vietnam War was going on. Then
Mhm.
a few people started protesting against the war and started protesting for the war to stop. And
Mhm.
and there were a lot of protests going on and things were happening, and in between all those in the midst of all those events going on, the protest went violent, a little bit violent. And
Mhm.
there was this whole trial went going on about the Chicago 7. These were the 7 people who were taken out from that protest, and they were accused of making the protest violent against the state.
Mhm.
And in that movie it was shown that the state the supreme the court, which was in which the hearing was going on, the judge and the jury members and most of the people were not even listening to the people. They were just there to make the point of the state feel powerful, sound powerful.
Mhm.
So that is happening all across the world. That's true.
Yeah, this power, the ego, these things, like I don't know why it's growing, man. Like people are becoming insecure day by day. I just see it's all insecurity. Like if, for example, if a comedian gets arrested for a few jokes,
Hmm.
then it's definitely insecurity. You're so insecure that you are
Yeah.
afraid of a bloody clown.
Yeah. Well, obviously the stand-up comedians are not clown, because one of those in those trial of Chicago 7, there was this one character who was a stand-up comedian, and he went on to write different books about certain things, and he was really smart guy, and he used to do a lot of stand-up. So
Okay,
stand-up comedy is a way of like presenting the
expressing.
ideas, yeah, expressing the
I'm
ideas that
just
is
saying in
against the
general
world.
that no, I'm just saying in general that comedians are basically jesters, clowns, or whatever you can say, because they don't really go into doing all the social work and bringing out social change, etc., through their comedies.
Yeah,
Their basic job is to make jokes and make people
make
laugh.
people
That's
laugh.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if people are getting afraid from that, then God knows what they would not be afraid of.
Yeah.
And this fear generates more thirst for power, more sense of making it secure for themselves. And that's the reason for the whole conflict. Well, conflict reminds me, like last night we said that humans love conflict.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true. Humans do love conflict. That's what I was like in the Kissa play, and I'm gonna link give the link of the whole video in the description down below, so that people can go and watch that skit. I really loved that. After watching that, and I really loved the way
Hmm.
that the whole play was executed. And on the top of that, the one thing that I wanted to say is that that whole um, play is actually a replica of how the conflict between the debate between conservatism and liberalism is going on in India right now. And basically, the father, according to me, the father was a little bit of conservative mentality, conservative thought process, and the girl was of the liberal thought process. So that's why this like the whole debate that they were having, and the arguments that they were presenting in front of each other were actually in support of these two ideologies. And the idea is, most of the ideas in conservative ideologies and most of the ideas in liberal ideologies are actually making a lot of sense, but the people from either side are not ready to listen to the people from other side. That's what's the that is a if you that is the whole scenario if you look it into a big picture. And that's what was replicated in that skit. That's what I loved about it.
From that, I also I am reminded of a concept, a way of explaining this right, left, and center thing
Yeah.
that I came up with.
Okay, please do
For
it.
example, take this blade. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you can assume this is the right, this is the left, and this is center.
All right.
Okay, you can see it as a straight line from here.
Yeah, I can see. Wait,
Yeah,
straight line from here. Okay, okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
assume
Now,
that it's in a straight line.
yeah, I can see that
Yeah,
why it is. Yeah.
yeah. People usually see these things like a straight line, like here's the right, here's the left, and there's the center. But in
All right.
actuality, it's like this. The right and the left are actually mirror images of each other.
Okay, what is it really called? A paper cutter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So the
came up with a shoe magnet example, a horseshoe magnet example, but I don't have a horseshoe magnet right now. But I
yeah.
do have this,
So
so I will
what we
make use
for
of it.
for the people who are listening on the audio version of of this podcast, we're talking about the paper cutter, and for the first moment, for the first display, he was holding that paper cutter in a horizontal way, and now he's holding it in a vertical way, which makes a kind of shape, right?
Yeah. So
So what do you?
basically,
Yeah.
if you for the audio people, I would just say this: you think that right, left, and center all fall in a straight line, but it's not so. Right,
Okay.
left, and center can be pointed on a U, the letter
Okay.
U.
Okay. Okay.
People usually think that right, left, and center fall on a straight line, but it's not so. Right, left, and center can be pointed on a U, the letter U, U for umbrella. So one end of the upper end of the U is right, the other
Yeah.
end is left, and the bottom end is center.
Okay.
If you really
That's
look
not obviously.
closely at the right wing and the left wing, there are many things that are just mirror images of each other. Their core is same, just
Okay.
on the two other sides of the spectrum. For example, extremism. There
Yeah.
is extremism in right wings also. There is extremism in left wings also. Communism is also it has also experienced extremism.
Yeah.
Capitalism has also experienced
Experienced
extremism.
extremism. Yes.
Yeah. So this whole idea that there's a right and there's a left and there's a conflict, basically they are just two mirror images of each other complementing each other. That's all. It's actually the fight between the right and the left on one side and the center on the other side. The centrists who are trying to keep the balance.
Well, basically, I don't think that falling on right or left either side is wrong in any manner. Going on the extremes is really wrong, but there are good ideas on both the sides, and there are also bad ideas on both the sides. You cannot choose all from each side, all from one side. If someone is completely conservative, if he's going totally towards right and taking all the ideologies from the right, then he won't be right on most of the points. He won't be correct on most of the points. He has to take some ideologies from the left as well, because some ideas, some arguments that are given by the left is also correct. So falling on the center is not what I think is right. It's what you have to do is just take ideas from both the side, which feels correct or which sounds correct according to the logic. That's what's once
That is falling on the
Hashir
center.
told in one of the articles that he wrote when he was in school, that it's not about being on the right or the left. It's about being right or wrong.
Well, there again comes the argument that what is right or wrong.
What is right and wrong? Yeah,
But
told him that as well. Like you cannot
yeah,
decide one
who defines right and
who
wrong?
defines
Where
right and wrong.
is it written that this is right and this is wrong? According to what logic? According to what reasoning?
Hmm.
So, well, when there are like this again brings me to another point that we need to find common ground, bro.
We need to
Really,
find a common
watching all,
ground.
yeah, whatever I see that's happening around the world in the news and other things and the society, how we are living, we need to get some things clear first.
Like what?
Like the things, for example, like the things, like being in a society, the topic of, say, love marriage. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so
That's one of the most famous issues in India right now. as the society is growing and like, getting a little bit westernized and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
No,
not
it's
about
not
getting
westernized. The thing
westernized.
is that it's a very
It's
ancient idea
very
in India.
ancient.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
ancient idea that used to be in India, but during the middle era, it was discarded. And at this point, people are
no,
still
not
starting to.
not discarded. See, there are things with the rise of casteism, the idea of seeing another person as a human being was discarded. There lies the real issue. We have stopped seeing other people as human beings, whether it's casteism, where uh, take for the gender thing, like
Yeah,
discriminating
discrimination on the
against
basis of
women
gender.
and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was recently observing this, like talking to a few people. There were always these like terminologies coming up, like लड़का है, लड़की है, मम्मी है, पापा है, उनको ऐसा करना चाहिए. Like they should do some things like this and that. Like they were talking in terms of roles
Yeah.
and not actually considering the person involved,
Yeah. Yeah.
considering
Yeah, that
that
happens a lot.
this,
That happens a lot. We hear this.
yeah,
Listen to this a lot.
yeah, like it's not like we are not human beings. We are just like they have taken the dialogue of Antonio too seriously, that the world is a stage and we are all actors in it.
Well,
It's
that's not true.
okay that we, yeah,
I
it's
think
like
Antonio. I think Antonio in the play of Merchant of Venice, Antonio was suffering from Truman syndrome, because that's the idea of Truman syndrome. People think that this world is a staged reality, and we all are just uh, puppets in the hands of someone else.
yeah, it may be possible. Who
Who
knows?
knows? Yeah, that is an idea.
We'll have to die to find out.
Yeah.
So
So, what were you getting at by saying that?
yeah, I was getting at the fact that we have to start seeing people as purely as human beings first. Like you
Okay.
are a human being, you have stuff, you have hormones, you have feelings, you have emotions. The same
Hmm.
goes for the other person. Like recently, I was watching a video which was talking about women's
Women's
pleasure,
pleasure. Okay.
yeah, and sacrifices. Like it, from a very young age, it is expected from a woman to make sacrifices, whether it is as a sister, as a daughter, as a wife, as a like mother, as a mother, so definitely.
Yeah.
So
As a mother, you
and
have to
it
make a
is
lot of
really
sacrifices. That is
appreciated.
expected from you. That is a predetermined thing that is attached with
Yeah,
you being a mother.
yeah, and if you have any kind of desires and wishes, it's like you are looked down upon. Like how can you think of these things while being a mother? Like how do you make time to think for these things? Like this is the idea that is propagated.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah, so
That is sad actually. This is a sad reality that we're living in.
yeah, so this really need we really need to propagate this idea that we are all human beings,
Yeah.
and just like you have stuff in your life, the other person too has stuff in your life. Sorry,
Stuff
the
in
other
their
person
lives.
too has stuff in, yeah, in their lives, and
Yeah.
you are no one to just like I have heard people saying. And I was just thinking of this a few days back. At one time, a person said, there's something happened, and I said I wasn't available because of this reason. The person replies saying, uh, "This reason doesn't sound so important to me." And I said, "Will you decide
What is
what's
important for
important
me or
for
not?
me or not? Are you going to decide? Who are you? My father? My parents? Even they can't decide what's important for me. I decide what's important for me.
Yeah,
So
well, this is the problem with every one of us. Like, we do not have this feeling of empathy. Like, recently I was not I didn't told about this to you yesterday, but I was actually trying to, and I was getting to that point, but all of a sudden, like, different topics came popping up, and I just forgot to tell this to you about. But
yeah,
I
continue, continue.
I recently had a big fight with one of my friends, and you know who, maybe who maybe you know who I'm talking about, like a friend from mechanical engineering branch of mine, a female friend of mine, which I usually go through a lot of
Okay,
problems
okay,
with.
okay.
Yeah, you got to understand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I had a
Hmm.
big fight. And I was basically the fight was about a big mistake that I did. I was a fucking moron at that point because I was supposed to register for the examination, right? And before every semester exams, it's expected from us to register for the examination and get a user ID and password and stuff like that. And I never actually got to know that the form is out, and she was out of the group, and she is the only supplier of all these things, all these notices. So she was out of the group, and I didn't got to know about it. And not I was not the only one. Shirish was also there. He was also not able to uh, register himself for the examination. So what happened is
Mm-hmm.
that well, obviously I had a big fight with her in earlier time as well, before that as well, when I made that comment on one of her photos. I told it to you about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after that, what happened that I went to Priyanshu for help. I told him that, man, I forgot to register for the exam, and he started scolding me and like, yeah, calling me names and stuff like that. Obviously, I
Same
deserved
story
that.
every time.
Yeah,
Same
I
story
deserve that. I
every
know that.
time.
I'm too careless. I know. I know. I'm too careless, and I deserve that. But what happened after that? Like, he told me to call that friend of mine. He told me to call her, and because she's a member of the training and placement cell, and she like has a lot of people from the staff members in her contacts, so she might help me. She might know some way to get me registered after that. So I called
Mm.
her, and I told that I forgot to like uh, register for the examination.
Rest of the exam.
Yeah. So what she did was she started calling me names again, like Priyanshu was doing in the beginning as well. Like, I totally agree with that point. Like, you can do that. Obviously, I did something too moronic for not being called. But what she told after that, that what have you done for the past 6 months that you're sitting at home? Nothing. Nothing. You were sitting at
Mm.
home eating, and you forget that. Like, watching Netflix is so important for you that you forget registering in the exam. And at that point, I snapped. I thought, what the fuck is wrong with you? You don't even fucking know that what I did. What was the things that I was going through when I was in this lockdown? I went through a whole depression phase, bro. You already know this. And there were a lot of things going
Uh,
on. I know that I did a moronic thing. You can do say me whatever you want for that one stupid thing that
yes,
I did.
I can
Not
I
You
can
cannot
whip you for it.
what?
I can whip you for it.
Obviously, I deserve that.
Pode,
I
pode.
know. I deserve that. I know. But asking, but making, like, putting up a question in on my competency or something, like what I've been doing, what I've been up to. I've been up to nothing. How can you decide that? How do you know about that? So that is like, it was really, I snapped at that point, and I fucking cut her call in the begin in the middle of that conversation, and I called Priyanshu and I told that, you help me, bro. I'm not gonna ask her for the help from this point on. So I had a big fight, and it's like we're not never gonna talk again. But that was the point where I snapped, and I don't know whose fault it is. Maybe mine, maybe her. But this is something that happened. What do you think about it?
Um, there are things that you have to consider on your part. Like,
Yeah.
before starting, I would say this: we are only responsible for our actions. Nobody else is. We are
Yeah.
responsible for our reactions and responses. Nobody else is. We are not responsible for anyone. Okay. So
Okay.
that with that being made clear, I would say that you have to take things easier, because this will in turn frustrate you to the point that you will just become antagonized by everyone else, whoever like doesn't think like you.
I understand.
I went through that phase, and I'm back now. That's why I can say this, that you have to consider who you are talking to.
Actually,
Okay.
after the big fight was over, I actually thought about it, and I thought that if I consider her personality and consider it to be a prerequisite in the whole conversation, like consider it to be like established right from the start, then I
Yeah.
have mistakes from my part. I cannot change her personality. I cannot alter her personality. I cannot alter the way that the way that she thinks or the way that she takes action.
Mm.
So obviously, if I have to think about what I'm saying and what I'm like, what are the reactions are going to be, I have to uh like predetermine that, right? And after that, this.
Yeah, you have to think like that, because obviously she really doesn't know what you have been up to. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fact. She's
Okay, I know.
not such a close friend of yours that you would be in a regular contact with her. Then she doesn't have time to care
I
as
know.
much
I
as
know.
you have told me about her. She's a very outgoing person. She doesn't
She's a
have the
very
time
outgoing
to stop
person.
and look at.
She's really busy nowadays. Like she is doing 4 internships at the
Yeah,
same time. So obviously she doesn't give a
yeah,
fuck about that.
yeah. Like she doesn't have the time to stop and look at the details for someone or something. So everybody is designed in their own way, and they have their own methods, purpose, the way of living, way of conduct, etc. So
Yeah.
you do have to consider that. For example, mm, yeah, for example, my mother. When I was small, I guess till ninth, 10th to the max, I was like really expecting that I would get a appreciation from my mother at some point of time. Like she would say, like, yeah, you did well. It's okay. It's good. So
Okay.
that thing never came. Yeah. So that thing that point never came. Then I started questioning things, and I came to the conclusion that she doesn't have the capacity to. When I
All
got to
right.
know about her childhood too, I just like I came to this conclusion that she doesn't have the capacity to actually think and know what I was doing, how I was doing. For example, um take for my marks in history in 10th. You remember what technique I came up with the 10 years question paper
Yeah.
set?
Yeah, I do remember that whole process, man.
Yeah,
That was freakish.
yeah. Out of that board exam, my achievement wasn't the percentage that I got. I was really happy about that method worked. I just came up with a method. I came up with something. I used it and it worked. It gave me results. I was
What's
happy
that
about
sound?
that.
What's that sound?
There's a vehicle outside.
Okay, okay.
So I was so happy about that thing
Okay.
primarily. And I was really hurt when she was like, this much only, and you should have studied more. You should not have wasted your time in the winter vacations, etc. I know my capacity. I know myself.
Yeah.
That I can say for sure. So at that point, I was really very hurt. But with time, I came to this conclusion, and I came to this understanding that she didn't have the capacity to know or think like that, or really appreciate what I have done. For example, take Anurag Kashyap, for example.
Who?
His movies were not so.
Anurag Kashyap.
Anurag Kashyap,
Okay, okay.
the director of Gangs of Wasseypur.
Hmm.
His movies, like he is a like genius. I would consider him a genius in terms of movies. Like the way he, like I really like this style of his filmmaking.
Hmm.
For a reference who don't follow his work so thoroughly, you can just look at the difference between Sacred Games season 1 and season 2. He directed season 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So season 1 was so much more enjoyable, and I'm sure if he would have directed season 2,
It would have been better
it
as
would
well.
have been better. Yeah, it would
Hmm.
have been better. Like he doesn't get so preachy about things in his film. His films are always dark, and it consists of people, humans, not humans who are not black and white, who are gray, always gray,
Yeah, the
different
raw
shades
nature of
of gray.
human. Basically, everyone in all the movies that he has made ever directed, all the peoples that you see, all the characters that you see in the movie, nobody is like washed out of milk, as we say it in Hindi.
Yeah, nobody is a saint.
Yeah.
So, and that's the reality. That's what I really like about his work. And I think, like, if you know about his journey, I would explain it in brief with the audience. Uh, when he first came to Mumbai, he had nothing like that as a backup, as a background. So he began working in a canteen or a restaurant or something as a waiter, and
Okay.
he used to work for free. And he just said, just give me food 2 times a
Okay.
day.
Okay.
That's all
Okay.
I want. The speciality of that restaurant or the canteen, all the filmmakers, writers, such people came there.
Oh, really?
Then one day, there was a writer or a director, someone, and he was just stuck with some script and all. So he asked her what happened, and said, "Sir, I am also a writer. Should I help you?" The writer was skeptical at first, and he said, "I won't charge you for it." He said, "Okay."
Okay.
Always yes to a free service. Then he wrote the thing. The director really liked it. Then he started getting some work, but he used to do it free of cost, and or
Actually, I'm gonna
credit.
I'm gonna
Like
pause
in
you
the end,
for a minute over here. I'm gonna pause you for a minute over here. Most people who enter into a career and who are really good with the craft that they're having, the craft that they display. Initially, they have to do some work, some pieces of the work that they present. That has to be free. For example, this podcast that I'm doing right now, I'm not getting any money for it, and maybe there's a possibility that even after 20 episodes, 25 episodes, I'm not going to be getting any money out of it. Chotu Bhaiya, initially, my brother, my elder brother, when he went to Mumbai, he was writing scripts for advertisements, stuff like that, right? And initially, the first few pieces of advertisement that he wrote, he didn't charge any money for that. And he was basically displaying the kind of work that he can show you. And the better piece
when
of work can be showed
Mhm.
if you're going to charge him for that, right? So that happens with a lot of people. Yeah,
No, actually,
continue.
I'm not talking about that. Basically, I am trying to tell this idea that he had to display his work before his name.
Okay.
So he first made a name for himself through his work. He made himself known in the fraternity. And
Okay.
after that, after some time, he was given the credits as a writer in a serial. After, I guess, like pretty long time of working without credit and money. After
Okay.
that, he began to receive some money and all those things. When he made his first two films, were like they were not allowed to release. I guess they were Black Friday, and there was another movie. So
Okay.
those movies were not allowed to release it. They were very political and in that sense.
Yeah, like people don't really like political movies in India.
Yeah, it was very gritty and all,
Yeah,
very
okay.
raw kind of film.
Yeah.
After that, his third film called No Smoking was released.
No
That film
smoking.
was with John Abraham and Paresh Rawal.
No
Yeah,
smoking. John Abraham and
that
Paresh Rawal. I don't remember. I don't remember the movie. I didn't watch it, I think.
yeah, I too haven't watched it, but I have seen the movie summary. Uh, you go get those explainer videos, no? Like explaining the endings of confusing movies,
Okay.
complicated
Okay.
movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I had watched that, and the idea was brilliant. Like the whole movie was uh, shown from the perspective of John Abraham only, and the idea behind it was how society was trying to uh, like manipulate his personality
Okay.
according to themselves. Like in the movie, Paresh Rawal was trying to make him quit smoking,
All right.
and that was the underlying below it. And it was a really good movie. And till Gangs of Wasseypur happened, he was he was a lesser known actor.
Yeah, I think Gangs of Wasseypur was the
Sorry,
movie that
director.
made him. Yeah, Gangs of Wasseypur was the
Yeah,
movie that made him famous because it went
yeah.
really a big hit. Not exactly a big hit, but it went really famous. People really love the movie. I was saying that Gangs of Wasseypur was the first movie that was recognized by people. The pieces among all the pieces of work of Anurag Kashyap. And that was the movie that was really loved by people. And according to me, I think it's the best movie in Bollywood out of all.
Yeah, like he is really considered as a like among the movie buffs, he is considered as a Tarantino or a Scorsese level filmmaker
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Bollywood.
The thing is that in that movie, that's the first movie in Bollywood that you watch, and you don't find anyone to be in the right or the wrong. Well, obviously, there's always going to be a villain, and there's always going to be some guy who's really greedy and who is trying to capture all the power that he can. But
Mhm.
that's not the point. Like, it's a fight between two gangs for their territories and for their like their, I don't know, prestiges or stuff like that. Like they were basically trying to like inflict the revenge that they want. What were the other things that we were supposed to talk about? For example, let's take this Anurag Kashyap thing out of the question. I don't really think that is a nice thing to talk about. Like we are having so many issues while talking about him.
uh, the, the idea was really that where did we start talking about him?
We
How
started
did
talking
his
about him, like the idea of perspectivism. I think that's what we were discussing in the beginning. I don't really know
yeah,
how it
so
connected with that.
uh, so like the point was like he makes great films and you should definitely watch it, whoever is watching this podcast.
Whoever's
It's
listening to this
really
podcast.
really recommended.
I think most of the people are gonna watch it. Most of people have already watched it. I think, like majority of people have watched it.
Yeah.
If people are watching memes, people are watching memes of in which the templates of Gangs of Wasseypur has been used. It's totally obvious to like, or totally obvious that people have watched that movie.
People no, like, yeah, many have, but there are still so many people who haven't actually.
I don't really know anyone in my proximity who haven't watched Gangs of Wasseypur.
Mm, I do. I have literally made so many people watch it. I have made you watch it. I have made
You made me
Karthik
watch
watch
it,
it.
and I made so many people watch it after that.
Yeah.
I made it. I think
Anurag
I'm.
Kashyap, if wait a minute, Anurag this podcast, we are your promoters for free.
We are promoters for, yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah. So other thing that
So
that we were about to discuss, that you were mentioning on the in that inbox, you can check your phone if you want to.
yeah. So the main topic was social code of conduct in education.
Social code of conduct in education,
Is
like I think we had a little bit discussion about it in
for
the
example,
last night.
yeah, actually, what really got, like
Struck you?
this came into, yeah, what really struck me was the fact that heard many people saying this thing that mainly about their college friends or school friends, like these people are so selfish, they only like call you up or text you up when they need something from you, and like they don't even there was a point
I
there
heard
was
the
a
same
genuine
argument
point,
from your
like if
girlfriend,
you
bro. I heard the same argument from your girlfriend when I was talking to her about friends,
yeah,
making friends in the college and stuff like that.
yeah, but like there was a genuine problem that people don't even say hi. They just put up the question, they just send you the question like they're forwarding it. But
Okay.
I don't find it anywhere. Like I really, I have literally told this to many people in my class that like they message me like, hi, um, someone XYZ this side, and how are you, or how are all the things, how is family, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about this thing. uh, my reply was, from next
Should
time, start start from here.
start from here. After that, we'll get to the other things.
Yeah. After that, if you are interested, do ask me about me and my situation.
About you and your family
i'll
and
I'll yeah, I can happily tell you about it for 3 hours straight without break. But next time, let's start with this.
okay.
So uh, like things have really changed from the in the past few decades. Like the social code of conduct, society has changed in its core. Like things
Okay.
are changing, no, bro. Like the
Yeah.
kind of lifestyles people are living, they are there is a new term called culture orphans.
Culture
Have
orphans.
you
I've
heard?
never heard. No, no, I haven't heard that term.
People who migrate from their homes in order to study or get a good job and settle down in that new city or area, they are called, they will be called cultured orphans because they don't get to live in their hometown or the culture from which their parents are coming from, and
Okay.
they partially get the some things from their culture from their parents,
Okay.
and the other half comes from
The
the
places that
place
they're
they are
living.
living.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, take us for example. Sorry, take me for example, not you.
Okay.
And like I have lived in a place called Padhana for my childhood, 10 years. After that, I went to a boarding school uh, in the same area, and
Okay.
after that, I went to Delhi. That whenever I go to my ancestral home or my ancestral village, as you can see, I really have this problem in recognizing anybody. I hardly recognize people there, and most of them, they also don't recognize me. And this fact that they are my relatives, like there was one great grandfather, then there were two great grandfathers, then were two or three or five, I think, grandfathers, then there are so many uncles and
Yeah.
their children, and their children
Yeah.
also have children. So and all those families still have their homes in that village.
Except for
See,
you.
we all have, no, I also have a home, but I never got to live there.
Okay. No. So
And
these people were living over there.
yeah, some of them are still living over there, and
Okay.
like I really have difficulty in recognizing them. First of all, people don't see me as a kid anymore because I'm not a kid anymore. When I used to go as a kid, people were like, "हाँ ठीक ही है,"
yeah. Okay.
or "बाबू कैसे हो," "how are you," and all. So
Okay.
these things used to happen. Now the questions have changed. Like the
What are you
most
doing in life? What
mostly
regarding career and stuff like that, right?
yeah, like people, like most of them are men, no. So
Yeah.
it's men's tendency. You won't usually find men very like comfortable with children,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they
I'm
are
not really
very
sure
like
about
a
that,
little
but
like comfortable in the sense they can't have a proper conversation with a child.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I totally
Yeah,
understand because
because
I
yeah,
myself am not able to have conversations with with a child properly. I
yeah,
too
like
have this
I
kind of
myself
problem.
am struggling to like I really sometimes I feel like an old man, bro. Like sometimes this statement comes from my mouth that हमारे जमाने में, and then then I look back and I'm saying what the hell am I speaking?
That must be. Yeah.
So I told you about how I go to my village and I find it really weird and difficult. And the fact that if these people who are literally part of my extended family, if they were to cross me anywhere on a road somewhere in the whole world, I won't be able to recognize them,
Right.
even though they
Right.
are my neighbors in my
Yeah.
ancestral village.
Basically, you're. Yeah. I know. I know.
Yeah,
It
so
happens.
this idea that it can happen is like really, really horrifying. For example, you remember our computer teacher who turned out to be my brother-in-law.
Uh. No. 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 I don't remember. He turned out to be a brother-in-law.
VKU sir.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Not
Yeah. Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. 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 I
yeah,
know. I
yeah,
know. He turned out to be a
yeah.
brother-in-law. Yeah.
So after almost 1 year of like being taught by him, I come to know that his wife is would be my sister.
Okay.
Okay, and that also not too far from like not a very like a long relation. Just the house next to us. My dad grandfather was also her grandfather from the maternal side.
My God. Basically, you guys were
Yeah,
cousins, right?
yeah, we were cousins, and I
Man, this is
didn't know
crazy.
about it. So this idea like it really haunts me sometimes, like it's not good, bro.
No, I don't really
So
think that
this
is not good. I don't really think that is that bad. But the thing is that people migrate from one place to another place and they don't really know a lot about the places that they really belong to. That's not a bad idea
yeah,
because the people, listen to me. Like, you were talking about the social conduct to be included in the education system. That's where
i'm
the
I'm
conversation
coming
started
back
with.
to that. I'm coming back to that, and I'll tell you how exactly this connects to that, and uh, also with the fact that this identity crisis that we are going through, this all hindutva and all the stuff,
Okay, continue.
I will just
Let's
connect it.
let's get to it.
Okay, so now I'm culturally devoid. Okay,
Okay.
what would if someone asks me where do you belong to, like if you would have heard our elders talking, people would say I belong to that district and that village.
Okay.
Okay, for
Right.
example, this is a very famous one, Padrona ke Bahu.
Yeah, this is
Like
a very
the
famous
full
phrase.
like yeah, like this literally means Padrona's fools, the
Morons
people
from
who are
Padrona.
living, yeah,
Yeah.
morons from Padrona. Not morons actually. Morons is a very like the people are too like they would be called fools, not
Fools. Okay.
idiots. Like
Okay.
idiots and moron, they go to a certain degree that their stupidity is causing damage,
I know.
and
Yeah.
then there is being a fool that though you know the reality that even after that you are going and doing something
Yeah.
just because of your like you can say purity of the heart or
Okay.
not
Okay. Yeah.
really understanding
Not
other
really
people's
understanding
intention.
the complexity of the people that is around you.
Yeah, you are doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So so that person would be called a fool, and that like the people here, I too find people here in general very well behaved and soft spoken,
Yeah, in
those who
Patrona
really
it is
belong
there. Yeah,
from.
I do agree with that
Yeah.
because people in Maharajganj are really weird, bro. And whenever I go to Patrona, I feel like wow, people are really spoken out there in the world. What is wrong with my hometown?
So now, if someone, whenever someone asks me, where do you belong to? Now
Okay,
I say Padrona in general, that I
okay,
belong from Kushinagar district.
okay,
But the same answer doesn't go for people who may be like a little informal, or um, for example, in a wedding ceremony, someone meets me and asks, "Where do you guys belong to?" Then I will have to say the name of my hometown, like the
okay.
ancestral home,
Ancestral hometown.
Balia district.
Okay,
Yeah, but if if that person counter questions, like tell me something about that place, then my answer is always like, I haven't really lived there, but I visited from time to time for a few days, so
okay,
I don't know much about it.
fine.
And this used to be the identity of people in social settings. Whenever like people are meeting up and they are asking where do you belong, where do you live, etc., etc., these were the things that were really also the concept of love of the motherland.
Okay,
Yeah, so these things came from like, where do you belong to, where do you call as home? Now culturally devoid people, they won't relate to their ancestral home as much,
okay.
and they
And they
won't
won't
even
relate
relate to the
places that they
home they
migrated
are
to.
having. Yeah, they won't be able to completely relate to the migrated place.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is called like, such people are called cultural orphans. They don't
Mm.
belong to a culture, they don't have a culture that they follow
Okay.
completely.
But the
They are
thing is
just
that
mix of
l-
cultures and.
wait a minute. I've been in that area as well for a few years when I was living
Mhm.
in Daman and Diu. I already told you, right? I used to
Yeah,
live in
yeah.
Daman and Diu
Oh,
when
yeah, I remember.
I was
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
kid, and I used to visit Maharajganj once in a while whenever the summer vacations was up, and we used to travel over here. We used to live over here for 15 to 20 days, and after that, I have to go back and join the school back then, right? But
Mhm.
it went on for a long time. Then we went to Kenya. We lived in Kenya for 8 to 10 months, and after that we came back. Still, after that we lived in Daman and Diu for a long time. We went to Haridwar and Rishikesh for a while, for 1 year at least. After that,
Mhm.
I came back and settled in Maharajganj. The thing was, at that time when I was living over here, I was not able to relate to a lot of people in the beginning, and I was not able to feel the place, like feel to be of this place. And I totally agree with that point. Like you feel a little bit cut out from the society if you live at a different place where your actual
Mhm.
belonging, your actual psychology has built up, right? Your actual personality has built up. So if I would have been living in Daman, it would have been different for me. If I was but since I was living over here in Maharashtra, I was not able to mix into the society. This sort of I don't know, a weird inferiority complex from the social circle came into me, and I was not able to relate.
Yeah.
I was not able to get connected with a lot of people. But after it changed, after I went to Vikas Bharati, it went on for a long time. I made a lot of friends over here, here in Maharajganj. As
Now,
you've met
now you
a few
have
friends of
spent.
mine.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, now you have spent a rather reasonable amount of time,
Yeah,
and additionally, your parents actually belong from this belt, from this
yeah,
area.
yeah.
That's why
My father
now
belonged to
you
this
may.
belt.
Yeah,
My
also
mother
your
belongs to the
mother.
belt that you live in.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's almost the same place. Like it's
Okay.
not too. It's in 100-kilometer radius. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so by that logic, you might be feeling a little like home at this place, since you have lived in the same area for so many years, including your childhood years. If
Okay.
you would have spent the same amount of years after you were 20, then the case would not have been the same.
Mm, well, I would have lived the same amount of years. I was not able to get you. Can you please repeat?
Okay, so you came back in class sixth, I guess.
Yeah.
6 to 12, 6 years
No, I don't.
there.
I didn't came back in
Uh,
class. I didn't come back in class sixth. I was in class. I came back in class fourth.
okay, fourth. So 6 plus 4, 6 plus 2, 8. 8 years there. 1 year preparation, 3 years of college. Okay, 9 to 12 years. You have spent your adolescence, childhood, and your early adulthood here
4 to
for
10, 6 years, and after that 2 years. Okay, okay. Okay. For the part
yeah,
I was in
it's
Vikas Bharti,
total
that is
for
cut out.
no, actually
You're including that? I
plus
don't really
fourth.
think that is that long.
Yeah,
Fourth to 10th,
I'm
sixth,
talking
and after
about
that
you
two.
living in a particular area.
Okay,
So
so
from class fourth to 12th, there are 8 years,
okay.
9 years. Okay, 1 year preparation, two
Hmm.
years of college. Almost 12 to 13 years you have been here, and
Okay,
that too in your growing phase. If the
okay,
same 12 years you would have spent, like my parents came in Padrona in 1998,
okay.
and it's now 2021. Okay,
All
more
right.
than 20 years.
Yeah.
But still, some most of the time we feel like outsiders because we feel like we really don't belong in here, or the people look at us as outsiders because we don't know the roots. We haven't really mingled with the people here who have lived here and all, in that sense.
Yeah, but your
So
father must be
like
feeling
there's
a
a
little bit home like when you go back to your ancestral hometown, right? And you don't
yeah,
feel the similar kind of
yeah.
link over there.
Now I don't feel that homeliness anywhere.
What about Vikas Bharti? What about our boarding
Okay,
school?
I can't go back to Kasbati, bro.
I know. Well,
That's
that is
the
the place
thing.
where you
So
grew up, right? That is the place where you grew up. If you would have lived in,
yeah,
if you would have lived in Padrona in your growing years, in the growing phase, then it would have been different for you. Like you would have
mm,
really, you would have been really
yeah,
able
I
to
I would have made.
mingle with the people and mingle with the culture
mm,
of Padrona, and you would have felt that homeliness in
I
Padrona as you feel in Vikas
I
Bharti.
mm,
Yeah.
like I don't have friends in here in Padrona. There's nobody I could call up and say let's meet and all. All those who are there, I met them in Vikas Bharati.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
that so you get my point now. This feeling of attachment, like the place you belong to, your identity. What's your identity? If someone asks you, who are you? Like most of the people I've heard saying, someone, who are you? So people will start by saying, I have come from that village, from that district, from that state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if like it's on a state, you migrate to another state, you say I am from that state. You migrate to another country, you say I am from the country called
The
India.
yeah.
You
Okay.
migrate to another district, you say that I am from that district originally.
Right.
Okay. Like here, people living in the city, when they are asked about their origins, they say I belong to that village. It's 5 kilometers in there, this direction, that direction, etc.
Okay.
So now, when such people are like now, especially such people who are like in support of this religious extremism and all,
Okay.
they don't have something to belong to. Where they find that belonging? In religion, in being called a Hindu. That was
Okay.
BJP's major gameplay in 2014. Like, enough of caste division and all. We
No, no,
should
no, no, no.
collect all the
I don't.
Hindus and unite them under a banner.
I don't really agree with you on this. On this point, BJP's
It's a well-known fact,
major
bro.
gameplay. No. BJP's major gameplay. Maybe you are right, but that here's my opinion. BJP's major gameplay in 2014 was something different. It was the amount of fuck ups that was done by Congress government and the development agenda that was being pushed forward by Narendra Modi. These were the things
That
that
was
was the major gameplay
that
of
was on the
BJP government,
forefront.
BJP at that time. But in 2019, that was the major gameplay. Being a Hindu was the major gameplay.
Yeah.
Being a nationalist was a
Actually,
major gameplay.
uh, the base was laid down in 2014 only.
Yeah,
If
obviously, it
I've
is known for
watched
this
many
ideology.
documentaries
It
and
is,
heard, listen. I've
yeah.
watched many documentaries and I've heard it from many experts who have been researching about the works and processes of BJP.
Okay.
So they have mentioned this a lot of time that where these things were said on the public front, on the public forum, and the
Mhm.
forefront by all the senior leaders, this development and
Yeah,
all the agendas, while on the ground level,
on the ground level,
on the yeah, in the
this gameplay was going
in the
on.
sun, yeah, in the
Actually,
sunshine.
it's
If
not just
there are
that. You
many
know,
documentaries,
the
I
biggest
can
game
forward
that
it to you.
BJP played was on social media. I'm telling you, when I was watching all those feeds coming on my dad's Facebook, at that time I had no Facebook account when I was in class 8,
Hmm.
when I was in 2013, and at that time the campaigning was going on like on a big scale, and at that time there were a lot of feeds coming on to my dad's Facebook account, and that was the moment when my dad's subconscious was being altered, and not just his. A lot of people from the previous generations were having this manipulation of subconscious they were suffering from this manipulation of subconscious thinking. That's what
Like,
used to happen back then. The feeds that was given were like full of fake newses about Muslim community, and full of different, I don't know, man, like you understand my point, right? Like I was watching all those things, and the thing was, the idea that I was getting, and the thing that I was thinking all the time, that okay, if you're promoting this ideology of development, promoting the ideas, the visions that you have about the country, or the fuck ups that you're talking about of the previous government, I can totally understand that fact. But this idea of being a Hindu, being a hating a Muslim, or how Muslims are damaging the country and stuff like that. This is crazy. This shouldn't be the point of a political game. This shouldn't be the point of a political campaigning. This is crazy, and that's what triggered. You know what? I think like this argument is being used by BJP at this in this not because of a certain ideology. I think it is being used because they know that this is how they can be in power for a long time. And not just BJP, every party in the world is going to use this,
mhm,
because let me complete, man. Let me
mhm.
speak at least my mind out. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
every
Complete. That's
every
why I didn't
party,
say anything.
every government out there in the world is using it in some or the other form, because they know if they attach identity to a political campaigning or to a political discourse, then it is going to be like win-win situation, because the people who belong to a certain community are always going to support you no matter what you do, no matter how many fuck ups you do, no matter how much damages you do in different sectors, like in the sector of education, in sector of healthcare, or employment, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, because you're a Hindu, you're going to be supporting that particular party. Because you're a Muslim, you're going to be fucking hating that party. There's always going to be something which is attached to the community. And whenever identity is involved in politics, it's fucking damaged. That's what's once said by Plato or Socrates, I don't remember, by one of the philosophers. And that's what being used by BJP right now, and that is what used in the previous years as well. Yeah.
I'm speaking from the part of the receiver, like from the part of the public. This was a need within the public. If you like, just look at the daily life we were living through. We were just getting up, going to work, coming back,
Yeah.
sleeping again.
Yeah.
Like this was the continuous. We were working like machines. Nobody was able to stop for a moment in their life.
Okay.
Okay, this whole culture of like keep hustling and work hard and meet your goals and live your dreams, all those things. So nobody was just stopping for a second and looking at what was actually happening. Okay. So and the speed at which this need for identity was really necessary. Okay, and the previous version was not working, and the identity people had, they were not satisfied with it. This was a common complaint among people when they used to talk at that time. Like the other caste people are getting so much facilities and attention because their their government is in power. The government which has the similar caste is in power. That's why that caste is getting promoted, and all the okay. So till now you have understood that there was an identity crisis which the BJP used and it came to power. Okay. Now take in perspective the public with who these things were happening. Okay. So the same this identity crisis, where is it arising from? You look at the upbringing, you look at the education system, what and all are the things that are being taught. Then again, there is a question of the technology. Okay. The way religion was able to answer some questions in the past, it's like religion is failing on its part to answer those questions now. Okay. Like chicken pox was answered with Mata Ai hai. There is a goddess who has possessed the body, and the
Mhm.
goddess is very angry. So just go and worship
Okay.
and
Yeah.
do this and that. Okay. So the religion is not able to answer those things anymore in those ways. Now, this identity crisis was originating because we were never told who we are. The question that who we are, this doesn't exist in our like education system or in the age that we are growing. In those years, nobody tells us who we are. Okay.
Okay.
So the question that people who only contact you when they have some work and those things, there's no education how we should behave in a professional setting. There's no education about how we should behave in a personal setting or a social setting, in a family setting, in a social gathering, etc. No ethics or code of conduct is being taught. Okay.
Well, the thing is that it is taught to children in moral sciences, but the thing is that people do not actually pay any attention to the things that is being taught. The thing is that it's
More.
not being enforced
Mhm.
at that level. It's not being taught to you at a rate of urgency. It's not being taught to you in the same serious tone as physics, chemistry, and mathematics are being taught to you. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that too, I'm very glad you brought up that moral science book. I didn't have that, but I have looked at the book of my juniors. It was
Okay.
introduced later,
Okay.
and it was bloody preachy shit.
Yeah, I know. I do agree with you because I
Okay.
had that moral science book as well, and it was
Hmm.
like it's completely devoid of any sort of critical thinking about anything. Like
It's
why are
devoid
we
of
being
real.
why are we being taught? Why are we being taught that we have to pray to God? Why are we being taught? You're already giving an idea that there is a God and you have to believe in him and you have to pray on a daily basis if you want good things to happen to you. What the fuck is that, man?
Hmm.
Like,
So
what about the people who
yeah,
are
it's
atheists and who are real critical thinkers who know about the society better than anyone who
hmm.
prays on a daily basis does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, and this thing really like it confuses the hell out of me because I personally don't really know how much ever I watch the videos, there always some or the other difference actually, because nobody is making videos like this is the code of conduct in Delhi, this is the code of conduct in Bangalore, this is the code of conduct in New York or London or Singapore or Dubai.
Yeah.
Everywhere there are different cultures, we should be taught about different cultures, and
Yeah.
it should
I
not be in
do
a
agree
way
with
that
this point. I do agree with you on this point because
yeah.
people do not know about other cultures. All we know about us all we know about, and we don't even know our culture properly, because the people that you were talking
Yeah,
about, the cultural orphans, what do they know about? What culture do they know about? Because their family is not teaching anything to them, their teachers are not teaching anything to them in their schools. This is crazy,
yeah,
man.
exactly my point. So these little things are creating an identity crisis in people. Okay, they
Yeah.
it's really making them confused, and it's really making them frustrated. I actually, since you have mentioned that I have listened, then I'm gonna open up a little bit more. I really had a session with a psychologist, you can say, discussing this particular matter. Okay,
Okay.
and we it was a it was, you can say, it was a privilege that I belong from this background, that I got to have that conversation. And this was the same thing they said too. Like, people don't know who they are because they are never made to think that. They were never told to think that. They were always told to think about other things. But after a point of time, this question will come up somewhere or the other,
Well, the thing is,
because it's a human tendency.
let me tell
Okay.
one thing to you. After reading that book Sapiens,
Hmm.
I actually got to understand this thing, that all we are is Homo sapiens. The cultures that are surrounded, that we're around, that like the culture that we have around us, we're surrounded with, is something that we created. It's not something
Hmm.
that we belong to. All right. If you look at each and every one of us as Homo sapiens and nothing else, all the cultures, all the communities that we belong to, all the religions that we have, everything becomes meaningless after a certain point. Because everything is like, if you're talking about God, if you're talking about religion, all right, like the conversation around God and religion are actually taken to be interconnected, but it is not, according to me. Existence of God has nothing to do with the things that is being taught in religion. Because if there's a God, for example, there's a 50-50 possibility, according to me. I'm an agnostic, I'm not an atheist, I'm an agnostic, and I consider this possibility of the existence of God as 50%, not 100%. I do not believe there is a God. I say that there's a possibility that God exists, because God is an entity. It's a singularity which exists in time, if it's which exists infinitely in time and space, right? If there is a God, and he's the one who created this universe before big bang happened, all right, there are arguments to present that everything that you see in this universe that is happening, the physics, chemistry, and biology, which you explain as physics, chemistry, and biology, who created that kind of things, this complex mechanism, there must be, it might, there's a possibility that it might be the piece of work of someone, right? And
Hmm.
before singularity, before big bang happened, it was big bang was a singularity. It's inexplicable. Why did it happen? What was the reason that from a single particle it exploded, the explosion happened, and this universe came to be? Like, there's
Hmm.
no, it's inexplicable. Physics does not explain how it happened, right? So there is a possibility that that one God exists, right? But religion has nothing to do with existence of God, because religion teaches you how to live your life, and how to live your life so that God becomes happy, right? If there is a God who exists infinitely in time and space, and who created this whole universe, and who created the evolution, who created stars, who created supernova, stuff like that, he doesn't give a fuck about what Vedant Shukla is doing on this one particular fucking planet.
Obviously,
Yeah.
just
So
look at other people. No,
that's what I
look.
get. That's
Imagine the life of a criminal.
okay.
Okay, imagine the life of a criminal, a gangster. Like, that person has to murder for a living. Think of a life of a contract killer. Okay, that person has to murder people for a living, and there
Right.
have been people who don't feel any remorse. What would you say about psychopaths? That God make a mistake in making them? Like, literally, I was watching a video. There's a channel called Criminal Psychology, and there was a 1 hour long video about how people fake being psychologically disturbed in order
People fake being
in
psychologically disturbed.
yeah, in they think that they will get less of a sentence for some
Oh,
crimes.
oh. Criminals pretend to be
Yeah,
psychologically
criminals
disturbed. Yeah.
pretend that, yeah, they pretend to be. So there
Okay.
was a 1 hour long video, and it was literally a case study. There was a guy who had shot. He has taken a. It was a U.S. case, and this fellow, he shot 20 of his like schoolmates. There were 4 or 5 teachers. There were 16 students. Okay,
Okay. My God.
and when the police arrested him, he started saying, "I'm so afraid. They are demons, man. They're saying things. They're shouting at me and things like that." Started saying things like that. But what he didn't know was that he was being recorded when he was in the interrogation room. And
Okay.
within 4 seconds, his demeanor, his like his the way he was
The
acting, and all
attire
of
that
these,
the attire that he was putting up at the in front of
yeah,
those guys was
yeah,
out.
like in the beginning he was like stay continuously staring on the floor. As soon as the cop left, he just put his head up and started looking around. He was like pretending in the beginning like he was not aware of what's going on around him.
Okay.
Okay, and then after just as soon as the cop left, he became so aware that he was starting to observe. And just as he like he put his head up, he saw the CCTV camera, and then slowly he puts his head down, and then does something like this, and then start to like
Yeah.
make finger gesture,
Yeah. I
do this
understand. I understand.
to
Basically, he
illustrate
was
that he's having suicidal tendencies.
okay.
But it was evident that it was all an act.
Okay.
In this
Yeah.
and in the same video, those people said, now let us show you what a real like such a case looks like. So there was a boy. He had requested his classmate to drive him to Walmart, and in exchange he promised to fill up his gas tank. So they
Okay.
drove to Walmart, and then he took out a gun and told him to drive on the countryside, like the village areas and outside of the town.
My God.
And after driving into the countryside, he was like driving really slow. Then he shot him once, and after that he was he said that the boy was gurgling and all. So he shot him again in the head and in the heart. So when
My
he was
God.
finally like all dead and all, he was finally like all frozen up, motionless.
Okay.
After that, and the car, and in the process, the car had hit a tree, and he couldn't drive the car anymore. So he started moving towards Canada in the northern direction. He started hitchhiking. Like, he said his plan was to hitchhike to Canada, across the
Oh.
mountains, and reach Canada.
Oh my God.
And when you will look at the fellow, he had no remorse. The officer asked him, like, "Do you feel guilty? Do you feel that you did a bad thing?" He said, "Yes, sir." Do you feel that? Do you feel remorse for it? He said, "No, sir." And he was
Wait a minute. This is
completely like expressionless, emotionless. It was a psychopathy case,
my
and
God.
you would like
Send
at
me the
one
link of
point
the
you
video
will.
after this episode is over.
Sure, it's a 1 hour long video, and
Okay.
you will really feel that like what's the psychology of this person? Like he's completely devoid of human emotions. After he was sentenced, like he was exonerated of the charges on the
Well,
pretext
I
that
don't
he
really
is
think
not.
that a psychopath is completely devoid of human emotions. Is it true,
They
really?
are, yeah. Actually, that's the major difference between sociopaths and psychopaths.
Sociopaths have too much of those emotions, and
No,
psychopath. So,
they know that they have those emotions. Somewhat they don't care about other people's emotions,
yeah. Okay.
and
Okay.
they
Okay.
use
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
they
How did I
manipulate
forget
other people's
what are the
emotions.
main perks of a sociopath? I just forgot it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So That's what a sociopath is, and this main like
You
defining
know,
trait
there
of
was this one.
psychopaths
There
is
was there was one character in Naruto who was a sociopath. Pain.
hmm,
Pain was a
not
sociopath.
exactly the
No, Pain was a
no he was
sociopath. He didn't care for other people's feelings, and this
no
I
no you
think
are wrong.
it's true. It is true, man. Like
No 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 no.
he was trying to create a.
Sociopaths are like that, like then very few people are made into a sociopath, and he was choosing a path of like being a sociopath, but he did not entirely believe in it, because if he would have believed in it, then Naruto wouldn't
Wouldn't have
like
been able to pursue like persuade him.
convince him,
Yeah, yeah.
convince him otherwise. Okay, so that's not sociopath. You can say sociopath. You can say Sasuke to be a sociopath, kind of a sociopath. The character of Sasuke is a
Yeah,
sociopath. Like he
you can
doesn't
say.
really care about feelings and all. He just does the work and
No,
goes
actually, the
his
thing
way.
is that he had those emotions. He like I don't really understand. Like for him, it was really weird. Like he was getting away from all the relationships that he had because he wanted to go get a goal, right?
Hmm.
And the reason is simple. Like he was the reason that he was trying to kill Naruto in the end of the story was because he wanted to be the sole threat for all the people, all the countries, all the nations, so that they stay
Hmm.
united and don't fight among each other. And that's why his power has to be unrivaled all across the nations, and that's why Naruto cannot survive. And at the same time,
Hmm.
since Naruto is his friend, he cannot let Naruto live because he's the only one who can he's the only one who's going to stop him from doing that, and he's the only one who can stop him from doing that because of his strength.
Hmm. So, like you can say, like from for some part of his character, if you have watched the BBC series Sherlock, the Benedict Cumberbatch one.
Yeah, I have watched it.
So, yeah. So in that, people used to say, "Yes, you are a psychopath." He said, "No, I'm a high functioning sociopath." I said, if God created a sociopath, why did He create him? Did he commit a mistake? Is God not all knowing? Does he is also like humans too? Does he makes mistakes too?
I think if God
Are we allowed
exists,
to
I think
are we
if
allowed to be angry on him?
yeah, yeah,
Such kind.
I think if God exists, he doesn't do everything on his own. He created a mechanism. He created a kind of a system, and the system is working, and that system is creating
Yeah,
all these
like an
products that you
AI,
see, right?
like an AI,
Like an AI. Yeah,
machine
that's what I
learning,
was getting at. Yeah, machine learning. So
machine
we
learning.
that's what we have at this point. Religion doesn't teach us what God knows and what God wants and what he doesn't, because God doesn't want anything. He
The
doesn't.
see
If
the if you go into the origins of religions, I would take two examples. One of the
okay,
Jewish culture, Jewish
mm.
like what's it called? Sanatan Dharma.
Sanatan Dharma is not
Okay.
Jewish.
No, I said two examples, one Jewish and
Oh,
one of
one
Hindus.
Judaism and one
Okay.
Sanatan Dharma. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
Hinduism. Hinduism.
Okay.
Okay. So Hinduism in itself is not a religion. It's a set of rules about how you should live your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not kind of a
Same.
following. It's not kind of a following like all the monotheistic
Yeah.
religions that are out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That there's one God and you have to like it doesn't operate on that principle. That's why we have so many gods.
Yeah, that's why
And
we have
if
so many
we
gods, and that's
believe
why
the
we have
version of
so many different philosophies, unlike all the
yeah, and
monotheistic
if we
religions.
believe if we believe what Amish Tripathi wrote in his books, then for audience context, I would tell this that the gods which we worship today, they were no more than ordinary people, but
Mm.
their work, the things that they did in their lifetime, made them extraordinary, and for that they were worshipped. And the worship was like, you have done such great deeds, you have so much of positive or good energy. Just some, provide us some, just bless us with some of it, the energy, the will, and all those things.
Yeah.
Just like we take the blessings of our elders. So these gods were started to be worshipped in that way. If we like, I haven't really went into. I have to get into all the Hindu scriptures. That is my like on my to-do list. But this was this is as far as I know, and this version makes a lot of sense. Like
Lot of sense, really. Yeah, I do agree
who
with
the
you.
fuck who the fuck went on and wrote about 14 crore gods and goddesses.
Yeah.
If you take like if you take parallels from other religions, like from Christianity or Islam.
There might be a
Like,
possibility, like if I'm going to say this, obviously I'm going to be hated by a lot of people. I'm going to be hated by a lot of
mm,
Hindus right now, but the thing is, it
mm,
is true. It is an argument which is basically presented by most of the communists right now, but I think it makes a little bit sense. There is a possibility that these people never existed. They were a character of they are a character of a story. There is a possibility of that happening, but the thing is, it's not about them to be
mm.
real or not. It's about the philosophies that the whole story is carrying into them, which is
The
carried into
ideas
the
that they
story.
are
The
trying to
ideas
propagate.
that is being imparted by those people. That's what's important.
Mm,
That's what you learn in Hinduism. In the philosophies are the main thing. That's why Vedas and Upanishads are written, right? Upanishad. What is an Upanishad?
yeah.
An Upanishad is a set of philosophical ideas, and that's what you learn. We learn philosophies, we learn to argue, we learn to think logically. That's what we do. So if we're given a story, what we have to do is just listen to the story and look at the ideas, the perspectives that are given by the characters of the story. And if you believe them to be true, to be someone who really existed at a certain point in certain time, then so be it, man. Like what you have to do is just learn the philosophies that are given by those people. And I personally think that there are so many versions of Ramayana. There are so many versions of different like stories that are there. I don't really think that it would have been a true story, a real story, because that there cannot be so many versions of a same story. All these people who
No, there
wrote Ram.
can be. It's the same way as you take up any
Okay,
news story. Everyone
I
has
know
their different versions, and they just go in their village and they start teaching you like
there
this was
can
the
be
story.
obviously there can be. The thing is that that's what I'm getting at. Like there's a possibility of them to be
Mm,
true, them to be real. There's a possibility of that them not to be real. There's a possibility that they were made heroes just because they did something which was like a great accomplishment for the people, for the society, right? So
mm.
all these writers, I think the writers were the true philosophers of of that time. The writers who wrote down different versions of Ramayana, they were the true philosophers. They wrote
Uh,
down the story in a certain manner, in from which you
to
can
tell a
learn
certain
things.
message,
Yeah, to put
to
forward a
convey a
certain
certain
message.
message.
Yep, exactly.
The same goes for the historians that the kings used to have. If you got a good historian, they will write all the good things about the king, and that historian's memoirs or his works will be preserved. And at a later stage, if someone goes in and reads up that book, he will come to find that this king was so great and so good. Nothing bad is written about the king.
Yeah,
And then you go into another kingdom and who is an enemy kingdom, and there you find good things about their king and bad things about the king you were reading about earlier. For
yeah,
example, Maharana Pratap and Akbar.
yeah. There are two different
I really,
territories, and you're gonna listen to the both the sides story, and it's gonna be completely different.
yeah, so that's again perspectivism. You
Getting
have
back to
to
the
find
initial
a
topic.
such, you have to find some sense about what seems logical and what not, and you have to decide for your own that what would have been the story. That's how these things work actually. There is nothing as certain. Okay, because it's just like I did something and the other person responded in a certain way, and I'm thinking like for example, recently this happened. um, I was coming back. I was going somewhere, and in the way I had my classes, and I asked one of my friend that do we have class. Initially, there was no response for a few seconds or a minute, I guess. I asked in the group. The group said no. The friend said yes. Since I trusted the friend more, I asked if like what's the class, which subject is it, and where's the link to join, because I can't join it. I'm not able to. And then the person disappears, and I was getting late, and I was waiting. Then, when there was no reply for another minute, I went and I saw in the timetable, I opened the website and all. It took a 2 to 3 minutes for it. And then I found out that this subject was not being taught because the teacher was still not assigned. And I
Oh,
got so like on my way, I really got angry at that friend. Like I was thinking that
is it the same friend
uh,
that we used to talk about?
no,
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 someone else.
it's another one. Yeah.
Okay.
So uh, so I was thinking like why have and why had she said things to me like this? Was she irritated? Did she see the message in the group and she was thinking like he's asking the same thing in the group and then asking me, or like was she getting worked up because of that, and in the fit of rage or anger or frustration she wrote like, yes, there is a class and go find out. I'm not here to tell you, or something like that. Now, since I was in that mood, I started thinking that way. And after again, when I stopped, I looked at the messages. Then the message was uh, like where she said, "Huh?" She highlighted it, replied to that, and she said, "Or maybe not. I don't know." And a laughter emoji. And all the half an hour of anger and frustration, it washed away
Yeah, that
because I was
happens.
assuming.
Like for example, this
Okay.
this episode right now. Like before we were able to get into this thing, I was really furious, and still even now we're having these interruptions, I'm really furious about all those things. But the conversation is again going really great, better than I expected it to. That's why all of it washed away.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So like that's the thing. Like that's what perspectives do to you. You really have now. If you want to be saved from that turmoil of perspectives, from the turmoil that assumptions bring upon you, you have to
Yeah.
really observe. Yesterday, I just came across a video, and in the end, this was the message, and that one very famous writer of philosopher, someone said that all the most of the people in the world see but very few people observe, and that's what makes the difference between ordinary and extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Like very
Yeah.
few people observe
So
really.
if you talk about perspectives, you have to observe the other person, and you have to do some work and come to know about how the other person, where the other person is coming from.
Okay.
Okay.
So this
So
adds up to
and
the social conduct, the social conduct of
yeah,
social
again,
conduct that we are not being
again,
taught.
mhm. Again, this topic also comes because we don't really know how to react and respond. For example, the Japanese people are the Japanese and the Chinese people are really good in this matter, or most of the South Asian countries. The Japanese people are not allowed to express their anger out loud.
Hmm, I don't really know about that, by
It
the
is
way.
taught. It is taught in their culture. I guess it's the Japanese. It is taught in their culture that even if you get angry, you shall not like have an outburst. You shall control yourself, be polite as much as possible, even if you don't want to, and then like
We
take
don't
your
see the
anger
similar
home
kind of
and
things.
deal with
Like
it.
I think every piece of art that we see from Japan is basically a replica of the society that Japanese people have. And we don't see the similar kind of dynamics in the anime that we generally watch.
No, actually, there's a difference between what is taught, what people are trained in, and what is practiced.
What is practice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So it's obvious that how much ever you are taught in your school not to express your anger, act in a certain way, etc., etc., when you will get angry, you won't be so conscious. You are
Yeah.
a human after all.
Yeah.
So and that will obviously there are folklores there are heroes, villains, etc. These things will go on as they are. But I'm saying that in that culture, this is a very prevalent training that they are given. Like we are given the training to say good morning, sir, good afternoon, sir, or respect any person who is richer than us, or disrespect any person who is not richer than us,
This is not what we
or like this.
what we're taught. This is something that we developed.
Not no, not exact. Like not maybe we are not thought about this, but even if you take into consideration the observation that children make and they learn from it,
That is okay.
like
That is
a child
basically
is
learning
observing
from.
his father just
That is basically learning
kicking
from
or
example.
shouting
That is basic.
at a
Yeah.
beggar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that also constitutes to the learning part, no? What are
Yeah.
you learning? What are you teaching? Come back to the fact that what we are being taught now, the generation of our parents, they have also been through the same turmoil, and their disadvantage was even greater than ours, that they didn't have the source or the means to either receive an input of information or to express their views and opinions that openly. So for
Hmm.
example, your father was working in a company, and he sees that uh, in one company the manager is very good, in another company the manager is very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, now your father maybe, like if there was a like established code of conduct that you have to like work in this way, act in a certain way, act in a manner, if that was established earlier, there was a method of addressing grievances. This was also a problem. Like there like a plethora of problems that you go through, that the problems that are being talked about day by day, but all the roots lies in within this sphere only, that there is no common code of conduct about how
Okay.
we should act and all. Okay,
Yeah.
so for example, private universities usually don't have a grievance redressal mechanism. If you are not happy with with a decision that the university has made,
Mhm.
you
You
really can't
can do
like
shit
speak up
about it.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, we
like
don't have the similar kind. We don't have that kind of mechanism in government universities as well. I study in a government university. Ask me, man. I go through the similar kind of problem. The thing is that what I have observed in all these scenarios, that people who are sitting on a higher level than you are, on a upper management level, they don't really give a fuck about the people who are uh, working below them, or the people who are actually below them. For example, the university doesn't fucking care about the student, what students wants or what the student thinks. It's pretty simple, because it's true that most of the student want stupid shit to happen, like, but there are some people who are really reasonable, for that matter.
really say that we need to have a discussion, a discourse about like how the society should function. Everybody is making up their own rules and all. You go to some place, you get another set of rules. You go to another place, you go to you get another set of rules. All the university have their own rule book, all own like code of conducts. There's nothing written, all is verbal, and it's damn confusing, man. There should be at least some resemblance in the process, some similarity, some like common ground.
Well, it's
It's really
definitely going to be there.
frustrating.
You cannot define everything on the basis of, like, you cannot centralize everything on a single perspective basis,
No,
because what
I
if they
so
create a single
I'm
rule?
not
Okay.
I'm not saying that you all of this should be centralized. I'm not saying you should do it on a 100% basis. I'm saying like the common ground is like this. Take for example, you know about grafting.
Grafting.
There is a process. We do it in plants.
I've
Remember
I've
in class
I've
9th
heard
and
it.
10th
Yeah,
in
I've heard
biology.
that term. I've heard that term, but I don't really
Yeah,
remember
in
what it
grafting,
is.
what we do, we take an inferior species of a like of a fruit, and we cut the upper part. We leave the stem, the lower stem. Then in that stem, we take a branch of a pre already matured tree, and which is giving fruits, and we just plant that little branch in that, and from there those two trees get connected and grows. Now many of the farmers, they are like using this method to grow 2 3 varieties of mangoes from the same tree. Concluding, we need to have some common ground, like for example, if you do an MBA, or if you study an MIT, in our curriculum there are like enhancement courses, compulsory enhance like professional courses. For example, this semester we have a course in which we are being taught how to operate in a corporate setting. Okay, so the corporate world has its code of conduct laid down. Okay, you will study it in MBA, you will study in any business school or such kinds of courses. You will get to
Okay.
study it definitely, for sure. Okay,
Okay.
so we need to do the same thing, like the capitalism that is prevailing all over the world. Capitalism needed this, and thus the need was fulfilled.
Okay.
Okay, business schools are teaching it, and all the business schools are teaching it. There is some
Mhm.
common ground. Whether you study in India or in America or in Europe or in Japan or in China, you will get to study these minimum set of things.
Okay. Social conduct of behavior, right?
Yeah,
In corporate world.
yeah,
Well,
just
actually,
like
most of the meetings are
just
going on
like
in English. If you that's it's
Mhm.
basically a part of it. You're gonna know that. Oh, actually, one of my friends, Ujala, that I told you about, right? She's
Mhm.
her English was not up to the mark. Like when we were in school, her my English was much better as compared to her. But when she went to Delhi and she started like she started having this business model set up and stuff like that, and she started meeting people from different corporate firms. She started to talk to them, like started conducting meetings and stuff like that, and all the meetings, all the medium of communication should have been in English. It was required, it was a basic requirement that you have to speak in English if you want to get into the meeting. So that practice like started building up, and her English right now is much better than mine. So that's basically
Yeah.
an
Now,
example of the conduct.
now my point is, now these are the advances which are being made in the professional world of people.
Yeah.
I'm saying we have to focus on the personal side,
Yeah.
the mental health issue, the identity crisis. There are so many things that are originating from this because we are ignoring our personal
Just because
side.
of social conduct we are facing these many problems like the identity crisis? I don't really think so.
No, yes, it is. Like, for example, the identity crisis, like it's not totally, like it's not 100%. It's not 1:1 proportionate, but somewhere this thing, like for example, what do you expect from your mother?
What do I expect
Okay,
from my mother?
how? Yeah, for example, like what are your expectations from your mother? What? How do you think
Regarding
you should
what?
behave with your mother? Regard in general, like you should you just touch her feet, or should you hug her, or things like that.
I never touch my mom's feet.
Okay, what? Yeah, we are saying this here. Now many of the people would have been like they only touch the feet of their
Maybe.
mother.
Maybe. It's
Okay,
everybody has different dynamics with their parents, right? Everyone
yeah,
has it.
so there are different dynamics, but when if we go and try to find a common ground, where shall we find it?
I don't really think that there should be a common ground according to in this one particular
There
scenario.
should be. There should be, because one thing
Like,
is
and
common,
no, basic
that there
basic
is a
like protocols of
parent-child
physical.
relationship. There is a,
Let me complete. Like the
no,
basic
I'm.
protocol of physical
Mhm.
intimacy is a different thing. When we're talking about the parent-child relationship, it consists of a lot of things, and there should be a common ground. There should be a common ground in every parent-child relationship, but that has nothing to do with the way that you're like like the basic detail of the conversation is going on. Like, for example, take Karthik for instance. He addresses his mom and dad as tum, right? As like we generally use in our friends and stuff like that, right? And that's not, he's not disrespecting his parents. He's basically, it's a way of talking, right? I never touch the feet of my mom. It doesn't mean that I don't respect her. And most people don't do touch their mom's feet. It doesn't mean that they respect her, right? Respect their
Exactly.
mother.
That was the point I was coming on. That this is the larger question. That how should you like conduct things? How should you behave around your parents? This is the larger question. But the underlying question, which needs to be common, is that every parent child have two things, three things actually: love, care,
And mutual
and
respect,
mutual understanding.
mutual understanding.
Understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Love, care, respect, and all the things. And the second is especially very necessary is mutual understanding.
Well,
There should be a
yeah.
discourse where the parent also listens to what their child is saying, and the child also listens to what their parent is saying.
The problem is,
You
the
look
problem
around,
lies with
you
generation
look
gap
around.
actually. The problem lies with the
What?
generation gap. The perspectives that are different, that are differentiating between these two generations, actually stop actually creates an obstacle in the common, in an open conversation between a parent and a child.
No,
Most of
see,
the times it
it's
happens.
not.
That's what. Yeah.
I'm taking an extreme example here. I'm
Okay.
not generalizing. I'm taking an extreme example here.
Okay.
There have been many cases. You can find it on YouTube. People who have come forward and confessed their experiences. I remember this particular one. There was this girl, okay, and she was sexually abused by one of the relatives,
Okay.
okay,
That
as a
happens.
child.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, I guess, 7 or 8, and she suffered this,
Okay.
and she was really like horrified and like lost and everything. And then after mustering up some courage, she goes and tells the mother. Then the mother tells the grandfather. They do nothing. And after that, the mother also says that, okay, it's not a big deal. You should deal with it. It's not so, like, things like that. Okay.
My God,
Now,
that's really an extreme example.
yeah. So now they like things like, I guess the case was that this particular relative was a little rich, and he used to help them whenever they were facing any financial crisis or situation, something like
Oh.
that. Okay. And they needed to maintain a good relationship. And now the woman is all grown up. She's 35 or 40. She's like, she doesn't talk to her parents, especially her mother. She hates her mother because of what she did.
Well, I can understand where
So
where that girl is
this
coming
is
from.
an, yeah, this is an extreme example. We have to like give these things, like we need to train. Okay, the world is not so isolated anymore. We are a globalized world. We are going to be more and more globalized, more and more well connected. Okay, we have to, we are going to have more and more exposure to things, whether it's a girl or a boy. Okay, things will get more and more complicated, because obviously there will be a lot more data inputs.
Hmm. Yeah.
So we need to like talk about these things. We have to address these things, the mechanisms and all the conversation we get. We should be a surgeon person. We should be a gentleman and gentlewoman. Gentlemen should act in this way. Gentlewomen should act in this
Yesterday we were
way.
talking about who the fuck is a gentleman about writing the book.
Yeah,
Tell me again something about that book. Like how do you plan to write that book, and what are the things that you want to collect? What are the information that you want to collect before?
like the same thing, like in social situations. For example, I have seen people acting differently in different settings. So, for example, I have money and somebody is asking for help.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as a gentleman, should I help or not? Or should I look into the matter and then help if I find it genuine? Or should I ignore it like all the way? Just ignore it and rub it off and just go on with my
Mm.
life. Or, for example, the thing I was talking about, if someone is crying, so if I lend that person my shoulder to cry on,
Mm.
or just give the person some sense of comfort or
Mm.
sense of safe space,
Mm.
so
Mm.
that they can be well, they can put out their vulnerability and just they can just cry their heart out.
Yeah.
So will I be considered a gentleman for doing that, or will I be considered an opportunist?
Well, it depends upon the intention.
Exactly. And who the fuck talks about intentions? No one. They say your actions display your intentions.
Action never displays your intention. Your intentions actually, uh, from the mechanism of your thinking and everything,
They drive
actually
your
gets,
action.
yeah, they drive your action. That's what drives your action. Your intention is the main thing. That's the primal instinct that you've got to do everything that you have.
So that's the basic idea. Like, who the fuck is a gentleman? Yeah. So he used to carry a professional suitcase and all dressed up in a tie and the coat and pant matching, like the whole suit and all. And he
Okay.
used to have a tie and all the things, like the things that were considered to be professional, all shaved and all. So there was a co-worker who was just imagine yourself as an employee, all beard grown and not so well groomed and all. So why do you carry a handkerchief? And he replies, women cry, man.
Women cried.
Women cry, my friend. That's
Oh,
why I carry a handkerchief, even though I don't need it.
okay.
For context, he was using tissues when he sneezed.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
So that that is how etiquettes and culture were taught in that context, the British context. Okay.
Okay.
Now we Indians are just like we are literally a khichdi, a mashup of
Yeah.
the Indian Indian cultural context and the Western cultural
Western culture
context.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, in our school we used to have fork and knife and all. We weren't allowed to use hands, remember?
Yeah. I do remember.
Which was so different from what culture we used to have at home.
Yeah. At the
For
same
the
time,
for
we had to sing Hindi prayers in the choir, and
uh, look a little excited, but this part. So all I'm saying is uh, that we have to find some common ground in the process. See, that's the culture is you have to interact with a parent, and there has to be, as I said, that love and care and mutual respect and understanding should be there. This should be common. This should be the thing that people should be taught. They should be
okay.
trained for.
Okay.
Okay. And now how the dynamics play out, how you achieve that mutual understanding is up to you.
Okay.
That's your creativity. So that's my point. The code of conduct doesn't mean that, okay, like I'm giving statements to you like for you to follow like a robot. Like you say thank you to Alexa and she sings, you are very, 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 very welcome. I'm not saying to you to do that. Use your own brain. I like people should be I
Yeah.
people should be told what they have to achieve, and the how part should be left on them.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
that's something that makes sense.
Like give some context of how.
Actually, mutual respect, mutual understanding is the basic thing in every parent child relationship, and that's the thing which is missing in majority of the relationships that you see, majority of the parent child
Yeah.
relationships that you see.
Not
That's
only
something that,
parent child, everywhere. Teacher,
yeah,
student, normal relationships,
yeah.
romantic relationships, friendships, everywhere. This thing is missing. Because this
Well,
thing
not
is
in
never taught.
friendships, not in friendship. I wouldn't say that, because most of the friends that I've made in my life, I don't really think that I have this lack of mutual understanding among them.
You may be a person to figure out the how part. Not everyone is. Why
I
do you
was able to
think
figure out
I've
just in this one relationship. That's why I'm really comfortable with my friends. Not exactly everyone, but I'm really comfortable with my friends, but not everyone else. All the other relationships that I have,
Hmm,
I'm not really comfortable
yeah.
around not. It's not that I'm not comfortable around my parents, but I'm not able to express everything comfortably as I can do with my friends to my parents, and
Hmm.
that should be the
So
prerequisite, right?
you
You had a lot of disturbances and you have to get a different internet connection. I think so. You have to do it, otherwise I won't be recording with you. I promise. I'm
don't
not
worry.
ready to I'm not
I
ready to have this kind of
I'm
thing. I'm not ready to have this kind of thing all over again every time that I record with you.
don't worry. I'll be going back on forth, and after that you will have a stable internet connection. Though most probably you will have to make out time in the evening, not in the morning, and
Nice.
on Saturdays and Sundays because I have college.